As Dr. Linus Pauling said in addressing our last Union Convention, there is one thing we must all remember. The Soviet Union is no longer the enemy of the United States. The United States is no longer the enemy of the Soviet Union. It is war that is the common enemy of the United States and the Soviet Union, and the time has come to all work together to abolish war.
Why the general area of California to begin with?
Oh, apparently the reports from AEC hearings in the congressional record showed that this northern section of California was a relatively safe area in the event of fallout.
Mr. Baumann, are you aware of the fact that there is a big ICBM rocket launching area being built right now under construction near Chico, and that there is a very large Air Force base, a SAC base 40 miles south of Chico, where there are planes based which can carry nuclear weapons?
I'm quite well aware of the ICBM base. It made it a little hard for us to rent houses because of building there. And I'm aware of the SAC base as well. We're not going off into the wilderness to disappear. Certain of the installations like ICBM and SAC bases, these are all over the country. We found an area that in some way was compromised from maximum safety, but an area where we felt we could grow, we could contribute to a community, and live in greater safety than here.
The great problem which we face is that the free world, composed of moral peoples who will not themselves either declare a war or use any kind of weapons other than in complete self-defense, that we at the present time, we face one of the most ruthless despotisms that any civilization has ever faced. We believe that we can accomplish disarmament through negotiation. If we were to unilaterally disarm, I am afraid that none of you would like to live under communism.
We don't presume to give the men the answers. All we know is that we are frightened, that what the men have done in the past generation is terrifying, that even without a war, there is so much strontium-90 now in the atmosphere and cesium-137 that we really don't know what's to become of our children. And if you say, why women? Well, because for one thing, maybe the men have made a great mess of things up to now.
We ought to learn something from the Second World War in this respect. And the bombing there, even by Second World War bombs in Hamburg, in Tokyo, and in other cities, showed that shelters became centers for incinerating or asphyxiating the people who were in them. People ought to know that in the firebombing of Hamburg, the temperature on the ground reached 1,400 degrees Fahrenheit. And we should know that such a temperature in the center of a firestorm is exactly what one would expect in the use of modern thermonuclear weapons. In fact, the available evidence tells us that a bomb equivalent to 20 million tons of TNT would cause an intense fire called a firestorm in an area about 2,000 square miles around the center of the blast. And in such an area, it would be futile, desperately futile, to construct what are called fallout shelters.
You don't think that shelters are a deterrent to a nuclear war either?
On the contrary, I believe that psychologically they will push both us and the Russians into thinking more of having a war, because some people may believe that either we can be saved by the shelters and therefore we can use the big stick, or on the other side, that because we feel that we are sure, we should be attacked. So I don't see how psychologically anybody can rest on shelters as a measure of safety.
Thank you both.